really is putting our friendship to the test, because there are a couple of bookish things you do that make me want to just drop kick a baby. What's up, everybody, and welcome back for another episode of the Loan Limit Podcast. I'm your host, Chelsie, and this is hopefully your host, Jay.
Hey.
If you're new here, welcome. We talk all things bookish along with hot topics, and we give you book recs along with our weekly read. Today's episode hopefully will be lots of fun, lots of light, airy moments, because sometimes it's not quite that when we read.
This is true. Like, yes.
So, to start things off light and fluffy, I saw a question, and I want to pose this question to you.
I'm going to ban you from the internet. What's up?
What's the most petty reason you DNF'd a book?
Oh, that's interesting.
Someone said they DNF'd a book because the audiobook kept mispronouncing the word library, which first made me curious how they're pronouncing the word library. Library?
Library? I wonder now if it's like an accent thing or a regional. Do people say library in different places? Now, hold up. Now, wait, what's the original question? Because now I'm thinking of how you say library differently.
What's the most petty reason you've DNF'd a book?
Okay, because it happened the other day, like, I think last week. I feel so bad. Mm-hmm. So it's an author that I like, and I DNF'd it, like, in the moment. It's not a forever DNF. I love that you have
to preface it.
But it's a DNF
like
right now. And so literally, this author has two newer books out, and I haven't read them yet. So I was like, okay, great. And you know me wanting to read in chronological order. I read the first one, loved it. So I'm like, okay, cool. Let me read the next release. And so I opened it, and the main character had a kid that we were introduced to like immediately. And I was like, no. And then so I was like, okay, next book. And then I went to the next book, and there was like another kid, and I was like, this is not right now. So I think the pettiest reason was that the main character had a kid.
The craziest part about that is you've read books with kids in them before, and you've loved it.
Oh, absolutely. See, here's the thing. People act like I don't like children. I do.
You don't.
I do.
I'm convinced you don't.
I do, just in small doses. And I feel like I had like in real life had my fill of children in my life, and I was like, I don't need to read this.
That's fair. That's fair.
Yeah. So I started babysitting, and I love my friend's kid, and we kick it, have fun. And I just feel like because I had like a real life child that I'm spending time with, I didn't want to read a fictional child. So I just like, no. So I don't even think I made it like 5 pages in for both books. I was like, yeah, no. So I think that's probably the pettiest reason.
Is it petty if I don't even have a reason?
So you just said, but is that more because you're a mood reader, or is it just like the book does not stand a chance for you?
Like currently on Goodreads, it says I'm in the middle of reading 17 different books.
Girl. See, this is where you need that good old pause button.
Because the thing is like some of these I'll absolutely go back and finish reading. It just was in the moment.
In the moment, yeah.
I just stopped. Like, I genuinely, it wasn't even like, oh, they're bad or like, this just isn't the right time. Like, I just was like, squirrel. So,
which is also why I said for mine, they were just a DNF for right now. Like, I will revisit it. I was just like, no, not right now. Like otherwise, I feel like if I'm DNFing a book to actual not read it, not like, I feel like sometimes, and technically there's like a couple books that are paused, but I'm not gonna finish them. I will not
Those
read
are
a book.
Pauses then.
I will not read a book.
It's not a pause.
If I just like don't care to know how it ends. And that's like such a growth for me, honestly, as a book reader, because I feel like in the past, I absolutely would have been like, I got to finish it to figure out what's going on. Nope. I'm like, it's okay. I don't need to know your story. Everybody don't need the story.
I think I don't actually like DNF. Like most of mine are like, oh, I'll just come back to them at a different time in life. Mm-hmm. And I think that's because I'm one of those people who goes, I need to know how it ends. Like good or bad, I need to be able to finish it. I don't care what's going on. Like I've been reading really like when I tell you the writing has been terrible in these books, but I just need to know how it goes. Okay. Like who's matched with who. Like that's been my last week and a half. It's just me reading a series where it's
I'm like scared to say
I should DNF this.
I'm scared to say this because I'm like concerned about our friendship. I'll just skip to the last pages and just be like, what happens? Okay, great.
You know what's really bad about this podcast for us, Jay, is that it really is putting our friendship to the test because there are a couple of bookish things you do that make me want to just drop kick a baby. And I just have to let it go for the sake of our X amount of years long friendship.
You know what's crazy? I really didn't realize I was this bad until we started to do this podcast. Like I didn't even realize it. I was like, oh, I'm the problem. I'm not even trying to change either.
And that's that gets me. It's like I just be like, yo, she don't care.
I don't care. Here's the thing. Like, I feel like you know this about me. I'm such like a control freak in every way. Like there's some things I can definitely like chill, whatever. But there's other things I'm very like specific about. And when it comes to books, I'm just like, this is my happy place. Y'all can't ruin my happy place. So anything I say
sitting
goes.
over here. I will be over here with my eye twitching, just ready to pounce. And then I just have to go, you know what? We in too deep, okay? This is not the thing that's going to be the straw that breaks the camel's back. It can't be. To be fair, in this moment.
I have those same reactions with you as well. But I feel like we just love each other through it and let us do our own thing.
It's more like I'm really good at dark humor and I just be able to laugh us out of a situation. Because, guys, before the camera started rolling, Jay decided to come for me real quick. Just, shot. And I said, here's a joke for you. It'll come to you later. I don't know why you sit here thinking because I cracked a joke.
Podcast, girl.
It was an example. It was a vague example at that. So I don't want to hear that I'm bringing anything into the podcast.
Okay.
I ain't saying no names. All right.
Okay.
But speaking of names, I need your help.
Oh gosh.
So it's no secret. We pick our books that we read. We are not getting paid to read the books that we read. So here
check it out. Hold up. If y'all want to pay me to read a book though, we can have that conversation.
Oh, that conversation is definitely on the table. I'm just saying here and now.
Right, yeah.
We giving you our unsolicited opinions.
Right, exactly. The DMs are open, respectfully. But
I call myself trying to be prepared for our next discussion on what books we should read, right? Mm-hmm. You know, trying to do what's right for us. And we need to talk about how people are titling their books.
Ooh.
Because here's the thing. Listen, in the fantasy world, it's usually the blank and the blank of blank, right? And I get it. We're going to let that part rock.
Okay.
But the problem I have, Jay, and I don't know if you've noticed this, is that some of these titles will just tell you the whole story in the title.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Like, let me read one for you.
I can think of an example on top of my head.
Do you dare? A black woman, white male, enemies to lovers, contemporary romance. That's the title.
Okay, I get it, but I'm not faulting them. It's because they're trying to buzzword themselves into getting searched. Like that sounds like a smaller, indie author type thing.
Mafia Don secret twins, an arranged marriage, dark mafia romance. Okay. All right. A billionaire accidental marriage romance. I don't. All right. You
and that's the title of the book?
Yes.
Those are whole categories. Come on now.
Like, Like, I left one part out just because, you know, I'm not trying to have people like Googling these titles and trying to find the exact book I'm referencing. But like, it was pages upon pages of this. And I just said, we need to stop. Like, I remember seeing these on like Wattpad and like Inkit and things like that, where like, you know, it's like some teenager just trying to write a story, and I could let that one rock. But I was on Kindle Unlimited, which means you went to Amazon and said, here's my book. And not once did anybody say, maybe give it a cute title.
Yeah. I miss when like the title of a book was a thing. Like, it was a whole production. You know what I mean? I actually distinctly remember like picking or skipping books just because of the title. Like, the title had to grab me before I even looked at the blurb. And this is, of course, is more old school when I used to actually go to bookstore. And I know bookstores exist now, but this is before like online shopping for books was a thing. Jeez, I just aged myself so hard just now. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
But like, I distinctly remember going through bookstores, and for the most part, I think we can know this about me. I don't always read what's the most popular book. Like, it has to catch me. Just because it's popular doesn't mean I'm reading it, right? And so in bookstores, like the ones where the book was like flat, because those are the ones they're like, oh, this is the popular one. Like, honestly, those never really caught me organically, but the spines I looked at were like this. And so for me, I'm like, your title had to catch me on your spine, right? Yeah. And honestly, it's funny because just like with TV shows and movies, I'm very partial to either like a single word title or like a very lengthy title, right? And
I like that medium size, you know, like 3 words. Ace of Spades. I'm here.
Okay. That's good. That's good.
The longer the title is, the more I feel like I'm reading the book itself. And I didn't ask for that.
I mean, literally, I Tell You I Love You, But Then I Have to Kill You by Ashlee Carter, having a long title was what caught me. So like, for me, there's like, it's an either or thing.
And by the time you got to Ashlee Carter, my brain has already moved on. Like, I'm not even going to lie to you. My brain had already triggered a thought by the time you hit Ashlee. Listen, Liz Tom Ford knows what she's doing when she said, mile high. Thank you. That's all I needed.
Yeah.
All right.
Although I Kennedy Ryan, I will say I think it should be miles, but okay.
Kennedy Ryan, Before I Let Go. That's as long as you're going to get, because that title itself makes me think of a song, and now I'm singing in my head. All right? Anything beyond that length. Like, I read all of ACOTAR. Don't ask me those titles. Because I've given all of them nicknames.
I will say this. When we read I Accidentally Summoned a Demon Boyfriend, like, that's a lengthy title that to me is like a little bit too long. I thought it was like cute and funny, but I thought it was a little bit too long. That's Demon
Boyfriend.
And then Booty Juice.
Booty Juice is what that is.
But it's also one of those things, like, to say what you're saying, like, I think that title gives too much away of what happens in the book. Like, listen, we read it, we went on the ride, no problems with it, but like, you're kind of telling me the whole plot of the book in the title.
The funny thing is like, if she had just cut out one word, it would have been a whole different experience. If she was just like, I accidentally summoned a demon, I'm like, oh, and then what happened? Let me read this.
The boyfriend part is like, yeah. So, ooh, I agree. That's a good note. That's a good editorial note. Yes.
Oh, I thank you. It's like, I know what I'm doing, but
like
I don't.
It's like your brain be braided, you know?
Which is crazy, because I come to you, y'all, starved and dehydrated today. So I'm not working on 100%. But you know what? We're here to give you a show no matter what. We go make it
through. Exactly.
Speaking of making it through, here's one of the moments in the show that we fight over. We gonna make it through the book recs today?
Oh, yeah. I'm gonna tell you right now, you're gonna be mad at mine.
Okay, I feel like I need to preface mine.
Are you going first?
No, absolutely not. I just need to put this out here while people are still listening to me. Jay said, I started the book and I think the book rec this week should be Found Family. And I said, okay, I don't really read a lot of Found Family, but let's do it. Having now read the book, my Found Family does not match the Found Family in this book.
That's hilarious.
And
that's hilarious.
And with that being said,
the floor is yours.
The floor is yours.
First. Oh my God, that's hilarious. Now I actually really want to know what you wrecked.
Oh, I'll tell you in a minute. You just gotta tell me your Rex first.
I don't like this game we be playing. Okay. So
how's it a game? We're on season 2. It doesn't make sense.
In my mind, everything is fresh. Okay. So Chelsea's gonna be mad at mine. Sorry. So my first one is an Allie Carter book.
Oh, okay. Well.
But it's Don't Judge a Girl by its cover.
Don't judge a girl by its cover?
By her cover.
I was like, okay.
Yeah, no. You've heard me wreck it before. It's a spy school, a boarding school. And so in this iteration of the book, what it is that there's a girl that kind of gets like instantly accepted into the school and is very not like on par with the other girls in terms of her education, and especially like learning like the spy, culture and whatever. And so they keep like questioning like, why is she accepted? I can't tell you why, because it's a nice little reveal when you read the book. But in the sense of like it being a boarding school, a lot of these girls at this school either have family that is either not on spy information level, or they are, and that's why they're either at the school for safety or they're at the school for development because their own parents can't like teach them those things. But at the end of the day, it's a boarding school, and so these girls have all found family within each other. They call themselves obviously like sisters. They're big in the sisterhood and everything like that. And I thought it was really, really sweet. And in this case, they have a new person that they feel like doesn't align with them and isn't a part of who they are, to find out that she's just packaged a little bit differently. And they kind of have to go through that whole like, oh, we can't really be who we are and stand for what we stand for if we can't be accepting of others that don't fit what we consider to be the established mold. So I think it's really much like a learning journey for the girls. Because at this point, I think they're like high middle school. I don't think they hit high school yet in this book. So it's like a really good learning moment. It's one of the things I like about those particular books from Allie is that I've said this before, like it's a whole series, so they age up as like with each book, and it's like the lessons that they're learning in real life are adorable while they're doing like also like really cool spy stuff as well. So I think that one's really cute in terms of like a found family, because one of the girls, like her family is the reason why she's there, and for her to find all the sisters and stuff like that at the school is really super cute. My next one is, it's funny because I too kind of struggled to find a little bit for this, but just because it was like there were so many that were all clustered. And so in this one, it's a Liz Tom Ford book, and it is Play Along. No joke, all of the Wendy series I think kind of had a shot to be considered for this, if I'm being honest. Maybe not 2, but other ones.
Mile
Anyway.
High and Right Move. I just mixed all of those in my head. I feel like those aren't exactly found family.
Xanders and the Morgans.
Well, I think in my head, because found family is like looking for your place in this world, and Xander's had his place. Okay. If anything, Rosie is the found family in that book.
Oh, the way I would dissect that is Xander's didn't have a great relationship with his mom, was not really on great terms with his dad. His sister he was good with, but they weren't like physically close because of distance.
How do you remember all these things?
How do you not? And then he found his
proud of
family
myself
with
for
the
remembering
Morgans
the
and the
dog's
baby
name.
and the... Okay, anyway. The whole point of this, Rec, is Play Along by Liz Ford. And this one was... This book, like, ripped my heart out and put it back together, and, like, ripped it out again and put it back together. It's interesting because...
I need you to choose your words so carefully while wrecking this book. And I know that sounds like a threat, but it's because I have not read this book yet, and I need you
It is a threat,
to be careful.
I'm trying to be respectful. So, like I was gonna say, because I already knew my parameters, is this book did such a great job, in my opinion, of using characters that have been established in the world already, and then giving it more backstory, more insight, and more feels. And the way that they used, like I said, established connections from previous books, they're all interconnected standalones, but you know how I feel about them. Read them in order.
You ain't gotta read them in order. Do what you want to do.
Read them in order.
L-I-V spells live.
Read them in order.
That's my tagline for this year.
And the way that they gave us backstories to characters that we already knew, and to give you like subtext, and something that I say about in real life all the time is like, you never know what's actually going on in someone's relationship behind closed doors. And I feel like this book was like the embodiment of that in the best way possible. So yeah, I just really felt it was really, really cute. You had a character that has all of the traditional parental structures, but wasn't at home there and found new space to be loved and stuff like that. And I was like, oh, yes. So those are right too.
I say nothing. I say nothing at all. I ask no questions.
Read the book, homie. I'm surprised I'm ahead of you in that series when you introduced me to the series.
It is on my shelf, okay? I need you to understand that I had to take a break after Caught Up because I thought something was wrong with me in the way that I cried
I boo-hooed
through that book.
Oh my God, I boo-hooed. Oh, boo-hooed.
I don't know what Liz has against me in my tear ducts, but I need her to not, because the series is ending in a couple of weeks, and that book is pre-ordered, and if I boo-hoo through that one, like Liz...
The way I've had so many DMs about Caught Up and crying.
Speaking of Liz, tell me why I was out here trying to find a book for us, and I found that there's a untitled book for Liz coming out March 3rd of 2026. I don't know nothing about it.
That's not Rio's?
It's to be announced. And no, Rio's is announced. It's a red cover. It's beautiful. It's coming out in a couple of weeks.
Okay.
I got it pre-ordered.
Oh, because it's
We're
like
talking
rewind it back
next
or something.
March.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
So I don't know what Liz is up to over there, but I got my eye on you, girl.
Okay.
Now, I need y'all to think back a couple of minutes ago when I said I don't do
I'm so excited to hear your found family.
This is such like a family wholesome book, and I was like, Reckless by Elsie Silver, which is about Theo, a bull rider, falling in love with Winter, the Ice Queen, sister of Summer. And, you know, that one is a found family in the sense that Winter does find her place on the ranch with the rest of the crew. After having a terrible experience growing up with her and Summer's father and her evil stepmother. Really, this is just a promo plug for Theo, because if that man were real, Summer would have to actually fight me. That's all I'm saying. It's not a question of can she fight. It's will she survive?
Listen, my goal in life, which is to trap a Canadian, that'd be do wonders in today's situation. So I support this. Go get a Theo.
My second one is the one that's causing me hesitation. All right, so S.J. Tilly, my homegirl. We already know how I feel about her.
Okay.
She just released a book called Mountain Boss, which is about a girl who has no family and ends up being hired as the maintenance man, quote unquote, at this like wilderness lodge. And slowly over time falls in love with her boss and builds a family with the other men on staff. And it is smut, and a little bit more smut, which makes me uncomfortable when we're talking about today's book.
Oh, hilarious. I'm glad
I don't know what it is.
Family.
I don't know what it is about children, but the way my parental guards come into play the minute we start talking about precious little bambinos of this world. I cannot mix the two.
That's funny.
It makes me very uncomfortable.
I'm locked in for this transition you're finna do. So you should have let me go first then, and it would have been smoother.
no way. There's no way into this, guys. We just gonna have to rip the Band-Aid off. Well, Jay and I have been friends for forever, and that means that we've actually spent a holiday together. Mm-hmm. We spent Thanksgiving together at my papa's house. Yeah. I've never called that man that before in my life. That's how uncomfortable I am in this moment. But we were in Palm Springs, and we went to the cutest little bookstore off of like the main strip and found this beautiful book. And I said, "This is cute. Let's read it." Mm-hmm. That was back in November. We are now comfortably in April. And we just now read it. And that book is called The GUNCLE by that man, that one man.
Steve. By Stephen Rowley. Rowley. I want to say Rowley, sure. But he said
it's
Rowley.
Rowley. Yeah. I read at a 1.6 to a 2.0 speed, so pronunciation is slightly different.
How did you read yours?
Well,
great start.
All right, I have the physical copy. But I ended up putting it on audiobook and then just moving the bookmark through the physical book to see how far into the book I actually was, because the audiobook was not actually giving me like markers of how far into it I was other than chapters.
That. Yeah.
And I was like, can I get a percentage? Can I get something? Yeah. Just let me know.
I don't like when it does that. I don't like when it does that. Okay. So funny enough, I too had my copy, and I honestly, it took me back to like my junior tennis days, because I was playing tennis and I had my tennis bag and then I had my book with me, and while I was like waiting for like my time to play, I was reading and I was like, oh my God, I used to do this like years ago. I started the book physically, paperback, lovely. I quickly transitioned into an audiobook. Here's the thing. It has nothing to do with the reading experience with a physical copy. It just has everything to do with like, I'm so busy, which is great. I'm not complaining. I'm not complaining.
Guys, did you hear that? She's too busy for us.
Okay. All right. Relax. But it's just that like, I say it all the time. I can't do too many things with multitasking when I read with my eyes, but I can do a ton when I'm reading with my ears. And that was just essentially the situation with this. Like, I was like, okay, cool. Audiobook, lock in. And I was able to do two different tasks while reading it, which was great.
Right.
This is kind of reminding me a little bit of Legends and Lattes, where the author is also the audiobook reader, which I so
the narrator.
I kind of feel like I love that so much, because you're getting the authentic like experience of the book. Like the author knows exactly what they meant when they meant it, and they're now just conveying it to you. So I was like fully immersed with the characters. And it's funny because like I said, I started physically and then I switched to audiobook. So I had already kind of like gotten attached to them, but then like hearing them come to life was like a whole other experience. It reminded me also of when we read The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. And it was just kind of like how it just felt like it was just like, I'm just sitting down, like listening to story time. Like that's what it felt like. And I was like, oh, that's so cool.
Jay, I have to be honest with you. Because, all right, normally it's my job to lead us through this conversation, right? And I take us through the plot points of this book. I don't know anybody's name besides two people.
What are the two names that you know?
Okay. In all fairness, it's because of how they were introduced and the nicknames they were given. So I know that our main character is Patrick. Mm-hmm. Because he said that stupid line about Pat being so heterosexual.
Oh, that's hilarious. I laughed so much in this book.
And then Emery, because they kept calling him Emily.
Yeah.
So we're going to get started, and I'm going to need you to fill in the characters' names.
Everybody else's name. Okay, great.
Cool. So we start this book with this cute little, it's almost like a prologue in a way, of Patrick, our main character, doing a video with his niece and nephew, asking them what they remember about their mom. And this is one of my, immediately out the gate, one of my favorite lines is when the little boy with the lisp, his name?
Grant,
only remembers that he saw his
feel
mom
like I'm
lift a couch once.
The whole episode.
Anytime you see my hands motion towards you.
Okay, got it. I know the clue now. Let's go.
When they're like, what do you remember about your mom? And he goes, I saw her lift a couch once.
Yeah, she's so strong.
So strong.
Yeah.
And I thought this is absolutely cute. And then we do a little time jump. And we find out that Patrick's best friend is actually his now sister-in-law who just passed away. And when he goes back to Connecticut for I almost said the reunion, the funeral, he's tasked with taking his niece and nephew for the summer, while his brother goes to get some help for loving pills too much. I'm gonna put it that way just in case.
For sharing medicine with his wife.
Yes.
That's such like a, okay, never mind. Keep going.
Listen, I'm doing my best here.
Yeah.
Patrick is so flamboyant and gay, and I love it so much. It makes me think of like Nathan Lane or something.
Oh, that is so perfect. Oh, why did I think about that? I didn't even think about it. Gives the birdcage. Oh,
it really does. And you know what it also gives? My childhood. For those of y'all who don't know, my dad is gay. So I spent lots of time with him and my stepdad hearing references to people that I did not know and going, what are you talking about, bro? Listen, I come from the parents who saw the Glee episode of Rocky Horror Picture, found out I had never seen it, and made me stay up late on a school night to watch the original. Okay.
That's so
reading
tracks.
This book, right at home for me. Okay.
Aww, yeah. See, that's interesting because I actually had a very different reaction to reading it. I read it and I was like, I wish I had a gup because I definitely do not.
Oh, I got a couple of them. I'll share.
Listen, no, yes, I love that. But that was actually my take of it. I was like, oh, I wish I had a gup. Like, that sounds like it was so fun.
Like, when I tell you I got a couple of gups, I mean, I had a drag queen make my corsage for prom.
Yeah.
So, right up my alley. One of my favorite things about this book, though, is just such the witty comments and things like that. And one of my favorite lines comes very early on in this book, and I have to read it just to make sure that I say it correctly. So, early on, we're trying to figure out how Patrick ended up in Palm Springs. And someone goes, yeah, but why Palm Springs? And he goes, because 40 is ancient in LA. It's middle-aged in San Francisco, but young in Palm Springs.
I thought that was hilarious. Like, Stephen's little one-liners as responses were so epic throughout the entire book.
So, being the child that I am, I then had to text this to my gay father and ask him if this is true because he has lived in all 3 cities. So I said, hey, Pops, I need you to fact check something for me. I'm reading a book and the main character states, and I give him the quote, and I just go, thoughts? ? And you know what my father sent me back? He just goes, yes, exclamation point. That's all I got. It was just, yes.
He was like, approved.
No questions as to where this is coming from.
That's so
what
funny.
Is wrong with me. He just goes, yeah.
Yeah, no, that's accurate. That's so funny.
But I thought it was so cute how they handled grief in this book.
Yes.
Because we find out that Patrick is kind of in a holding pattern after losing his partner in a very tragic way.
And
on top of that, he's literally raising 2 children who just lost their mother, and their father is technically AWOL in this moment. And the way I put this as like a update on Goodreads, but like the character development of watching all 3 of them grow up this summer was like those moments where he goes from being like, what is the deal with this sunscreen and why can't I rub it in correctly, to like his neighbors being like, you're really good at that.
Really good at that.
And
yeah.
Being like, oh.
Yeah. One thing I thought was really cool was a conversation that he had with Judd.
Is that the one who's good at everything next door in the throuple?
Well, Judd is the throuple as a whole because it's their initials.
Oh, that's right.
But I think it was I think he was either talking to John. No, he wasn't talking to John. He was talking to all of them because this was early on. So he went over for like a drink. While...
Oh, is this when they like were like, when did your childhood end?
Yes, when he said last week. Oh, my heart, because like it could sound like such a dismissive answer. But for him, he really meant that. Real. Because, like, he lost his friend, his sister-in-law, his brother temporarily, and you're now responsible. This is the first time he's, like, really responsible. Because, obviously, we know he went through heartache when his partner passed. But still, they were living a life that was so just, like, them-centric that he could still just kind of wallow in stuff on his own without the impacting of someone else's lives. But now...
Right.
His every decision impacts 2 lives directly for at least a temporary amount of time. And it was so real for him to have been like, this level of responsibility means that I officially am now a grown up. And I was just like, oh, wow.
Well, they also say like the age you are when you become famous is kind of like the age that you're locked in at mentally. So he's this big famous actor from years ago. Yeah. He's kind of just traipsing the world with his partner until his partner passed. And then he just went and hid in Palm Springs. So he's never really had responsibilities. Yeah. And so it was so cool to watch him go from like, just stay in the bed where this like metal thing is hung up over your heads every night, to like, just being like, if you want to wear a helmet for a week, go ahead. Yeah. You're a child. Go ahead.
But then and also,
love that.
Like guiding them to take it off when it's just like, you can't live life with like all this protection as if the sky is going to fall every day too. Like there were so many life lessons. The GUNCLE rules, I wrote every single one that I could recognize down because I was like, I'm going to need this in life at some point. Like, Stephen did such a good job with this book. Such a good job. Like but like my kind of only complaint is the time jumps a little bit because sometimes I got a little confused. But that's just because I personally don't like time jumps because I get confused. But
I was about to say that's just because you don't like time jumps.
Yeah, that's just me. But other than that, I feel like they were still used appropriately to tell the story to help it along. Yeah. So, so good because there's heavy topics in this, but I feel like I laughed throughout the entire book.
I think the only times I didn't laugh is when his sister came on the page. That's the only
time. The way I was just about to say that. So that her name is Clara.
And the only thing I can think of is Clara Bell, the cow, because she a cow.
Okay, wait.
Let's
go back. Hold on. Let's go back before we get into her.
I'm about to. How dare you, at your sister-in-law's funeral, go up to your brother who's grieving, not only his sister-in-law, but the woman who was his best friend before she was his sister-in-law, and say, you're not really fit to raise the kids, so I'm going to just take them off your hand. You don't want it. Yeah. And I don't know if she knows the truth behind who made the decision on why Patrick was taking the children. But let me find out she knew. I'm drop kicking her.
So here's the thing. I appreciated her giving him an out if he wanted it because, the responsibility of kids wasn't on his radar. However, the way she presented it, hard pass. She presented it like he was unfit and from the beginning. Also, I thought about this throughout, and I was like, they were kind of responsible in how they approached this. they were like, let them finish school, the school year. Yes. And essentially you're going away for the summer at Fun Uncle Patrick's house. Like that's not crazy. All he had to do was keep them alive. Keep them alive. And for the most part, I think also let them have slices of fun, because it's so far removed from like the grief and stuff that waits for them in Connecticut. And it was just like, girl, you can't just let them have a summer. Even if he severely messed it up, you're going to get them back.
When she got mad that he fed them cotton candy for breakfast, I was like, it's the summer. It's not like he held them out at a club all night and then tried to send them to school the next morning. Like, they had cotton candy for brunch.
Yeah. Okay. So here's my thing with Gup, which I love that nickname. Gay Uncle Patrick Gup is so cute.
It's cute, but I'm with Patrick. Don't call me that.
Also, okay, with all the nicknames, for my all-time favorite though was Grantelope, that he started to call Grant. I thought that was the cutest thing. Okay.
I liked upside down cake.
That was a late one. I didn't really love it. I was with Macy. Don't call me that.
Well, Macy got an attitude, so she getting what she get.
This is true. This is very true. But I thought it was really interesting because I think Patrick also like noted a couple of things. I think the thought process of a lot of the people in Connecticut is like, oh, you became this big Hollywood star and you kind of left us behind. And he has a statement that hit me in the chest. And he said, planes fly west too, you know? And that hit me so hard because here he is. He has a big welcoming house. If you were to come over, you'd be treated correctly. And no one ever came. And he's always making the trip out. And I get it. Like, the responsibilities, things can keep you tethered to places. I understand that. But for how many years? How many years? He has experienced a great loss in his life. And y'all didn't come out for that? Like, there was a lot that made me go, okay, family, I see y'all.
But, like, what blows my mind the most about it all is, like, it's not like he lives in, like, North Dakota. Like, he lives in Palm Springs, okay? He lives in Palm Springs. It's a 2-hour drive to LA if you really feel like Palm Springs is that boring of a place. But I could tell you firsthand that I have gone club hopping with my dad in Palm Springs, and you could have a good old time, okay? So I just was like, there's really no excuse because they took the kids out, like, before all of this happened. So
I also thought it was very interesting that so far Sarah was the only one that made the trip. I mean, in terms of her branch, because Sarah came when his partner passed, and then Sarah had also like he came to Connecticut to meet the kids, and then she brought the kids over when they were a little bit older. So I'm just like, it seems out of all the people, the ones that are not technically blood related had the closest relationship and actually tried to make like that distance and stuff work. So,
well, it's even like later on, like their version of reality, like their perception of things is so jumbled compared to his. Like when his sister Clara is talking about how he had replaced her with the mom, Sarah. Close. It rhymes. But I remember when he talks about as kids, like all he wanted was to be close to Clara, and she found every reason to be away from him. And so it's like, of course he went and found someone else that fills that void. You can't be mad at that now.
Yeah.
Like, yes, I understand y'all were kids, but like, what about college? And what about post-college?
I also thought it was very interesting where he was kind of saying that once he figured out like his identity and was ready to come out, he actually was looking forward to it and assumed that he was going to become closer with his sister, and that wasn't the case.
Yes.
So yeah, I think to me, it felt like there was a lot of judgment. I don't necessarily feel or felt like they rejected him for being gay. Like that didn't feel like that was the theme, but it definitely felt like they othered him for having dreams beyond Connecticut. Like that's the thing that it felt like they distanced him for, which I'm like, that's not fair to him. He's taking a shot at life.
Yeah. And then it also just felt like they kind of used it like, oh, well, we grew up and you didn't excuse. And I was like, that's crazy. Because I have a sibling. And sometimes it's fun to hang out with somebody who's not on the same track as you. Go experience the world through their eyes. You'll find out a whole lot of stuff you didn't know about.
That's true. And also, you can legitimately say his siblings, his parents and siblings all have kids. He's the only one that doesn't. It's a different experience at life. It's a different level of responsibility. And it's just like, that's okay. And I felt like they kept belittling him for that. And I'm just like, okay, now that we know the full story, also, how are you belittling a man for not like creating a family when half of his was torn apart? Like, who is he going to have the family with? Like, the person he probably would have considered it maybe is no longer there to be there for him for that. So I felt like they kind of dismissed him, maybe because of location. They're like, oh, he's across the country. There's like, he's fine. But I'm like, but you guys never checked. I don't know. His family had me looking at them a little bit sideways.
You know who didn't dismiss him, though?
Who?
Those kids. Because that convo, when little Lith man said, why do you like boys? That conversation, when I tell you, I had to pause and catch my breath because he said, well, why do you like ice cream or whatever? And then he goes,
no.
Well,
he said, why do you like pizza?
Yeah, he goes,
and he said, because I like to eat. No, he said, because
I like the taste.
It tastes good in my mouth. And he said, I've never responded to that. When I tell you I had to pause the book because I almost fell off the couch laughing. I was almost fell off the couch laughing.
The way he just threw in a random fun fact to just reroute his brain, and little Grant said, okay, I'm rolling with it.
Listen, like, Patrick learning and knowing and having like little random facts in his back pocket for that reason was everything to me. Like, I thought that was the funniest thing.
What I loved about this book, and it's like something we always talk about in film school, is like the setup and the payoff. Mm-hmm. I don't know if you felt this way, but the payoff for me was the moment they were in the diner and Maggie, I don't know her name.
Macy.
The child, Macy. Okay, listen, I tried. I told you I didn't know. I told you from the beginning. Okay, you can't be mad at me. But she goes, I hate you. And they have like the big show out.
Yeah.
Right? And then the old couple comes by and passes him the note. And they said, all parents go through this. Your breakfast is on us today.
And you're doing a good job with them. I almost cried. Oh, I almost cried.
The way I was like, why are you making me cry?
I almost cried.
But it was such a like,
because you know he needed that in that moment.
He's doing it moment.
Like, you know he needed that in that moment because like Macy was going for, you know, like, and we've obviously find out why she was kind of having a day.
Yes,
but like, oh, he needed that. Literally, I read that and I reminded myself, and I was like, Jay, I was like, this is why you go out of your way and you need to compliment people when you see it. Like, when you have the urge to tell someone something nice, I make a point to do it. Like, I know it's very random, but something that does nothing to like negatively impact me can really positively impact another person. And that was just like a moment of like reminder for that. And I was just like, he needed that so much in that moment.
So we're going through this ups and downs of a summer, which rightfully so with everything going on. And there's an earthquake, and little
girl, you skipping the whole book, but okay, go ahead.
Well, I mean, it's a feel good book. There's no dramatic moments that we need to stop and pause at. At least I don't feel like we do, and I don't want to ruin them for anyone who wants to go read it.
Okay, continue with the earthquake.
Y'all, if y'all can see the face that she just gave me, for those of y'all who are listening, I feel very disrespected in this moment. You know, if you would like to start somewhere else, feel free, because we've jumped around a couple times.
No, I know. Finish with the earthquake and I'll jump back to where I need to jump back to. Go ahead.
You know what this is, guys? She's a stickler. She has notes, and I am throwing her notes all out of whack right now.
The way I have to keep scrolling up and down and up and because my notes are in order of being read, and we keep going up and down and up and down.
You know what's crazy is I have always done it this way, wherever my brain takes me. But, Jay, we have the earthquake in Palm Springs, and our little man gets hurt. And turns out he's okay. Little concussion. Might have a scar. And in a panic, Patrick goes to visit his brother and the center that he is detoxing at. We'll put it that way. And we find out the reason Patrick has been left with the kids is because his homegirl, Sarah.
Good job.
Hey. Made the decision on her deathbed that that is where the kids would go because she knew about her husband's affliction. Man, I am a thesaurus on this podcast.
You're doing so great.
And in that moment, I don't know about you, but it felt like a hug from Sarah.
It did. It definitely did. And I think Patrick needed to hear that it wasn't just like a random idea from his maybe not in the best place mentally brother, you know?
Inebriated.
Yes. So I think that also like solidified it in Patrick's mind where it's like it wasn't just a random one-off thing my, brother thought of in a moment of grief and everything. And it was like, no, it was thought out. It was planned. And it was definitely like a direct, thought from his best friend. Like in all of this, like him and his brother, his sisters, whatever, I really feel like even though they didn't have a blood relation, he was the closest to Sarah. They spent time together. They lived with each other as adults. Obviously you live with your siblings when you're younger, but they lived with each other as adults. And even her dating the brother and like going through that was a level of discourse with them because they were like, we're so close as family. Like, how dare you date family kind of thing. So yeah, I think Patrick kind of just needed like that little nod of like confidence of like this wasn't a random thing. This was like, no, this was on purpose.
It's also like he spends a lot of the story being like, did y'all forget she was mine first?
Yeah.
Like there's a lot of this story where he just keeps going, why is no one checking in on me?
Me, yeah.
And so like then to be told like, nah, she's still checking in on you.
Yeah.
And being honestly, like, you need the kids as much as the kids need you.
Yes.
I couldn't handle it.
I think all the moments where he saw himself and Sarah in the kids was healing for him. And I know, and even he mentioned it, he goes, I know I'm not really seeing myself. I'm really seeing Greg because it's their DNA. But it's just multiple times where he was just like, man, she looks just like her, or he looks just like, and just having those like DNA check-in moments, I think kind of just like really reminded him and solidified him that he has family and they have like really deep ties because he's kind of been floating away from them for a bit, Okay, speaking of floating away, I'm going to kind of jump back to earlier on.
Feel free.
His a junior agent drives out to Palm Springs to track him down. Good job. To track him down.
I just remember because of all the mountains that he kept referencing. Stuff. All the name games locked it in.
Oh,
and this is the problem with me listening because if I don't see that name on paper, I don't know who you are. I just know your voice.
Okay. Yeah, that I thought was so needed. So I was actually a little bit nervous. I thought that I was like, oh no, he's going to just take a show and just drag the kids along and it's going to be very like jarring, And I love the way that it was processed because obviously, not obviously, but if you work in the industry, you know that there's a hurry up and wait element. So in some cases it could take forever for something to happen. And it could be like instantly, you know what I mean?
So true.
And so when she came out, I got a little bit nervous. And then so for it to kind of just be like, the beginning of a whole person healing for him in the sense of like what's something that he's accustomed to doing and he needs to do, which is like be around people again. So even like the party, I thought that was so great because it was something where he included the kids. I love that he included the kids, right? Because I'm pretty sure the parties that he's accustomed to aren't necessarily PG or even PG-13 level. And the way that he included the kids from the beginning and it's like, hey, we need this and we're going to do all these things. Also, shout out to little Mountaintop. She did her thing from jump, Cassie. She did her thing from jump.
Kilimanjaro, yeah.
And I love the way they put it on. Now, this is the part where I really wanted to kind of fight Claire, right? Because she pops over unannounced. And she's like, there's a party, this stuff, all this, whatever. And this is my thing.
Sweetheart, it's like, summer.
It's summer.
It's summer.
It's summer. First of all, you have not been there the entire time. So I understand you, again, unannounced. I understand you coming up unannounced and seeing a party and that being like, oh my God, what's going on? You have asked no questions. You have not like looked at anything. All you've been doing is accusing them.
Well, she did see a YouTube video. She panicked, remember? Because that's how she saw that they had the cotton candy. So they had cotton candy, and now there's a giant party with all these celebrities who are doing God knows what on God knows what.
Yes. Okay.
And I'm coming to take my babies, and I'm in the middle of my own storm, and I can't see anything beyond
inside
my hand.
For me, the parental concern from her, I have no problems with.
I did.
Okay, I have no problems with. The thing for me was her approach in terms of like how to deal with it. So even before the lawsuit, because it's like I said, like when she actually looked and she saw that they did do some things really well. Like she was questioning, like, had they even brushed their teeth the entire time? And he's just like, girl, I'm in California. We got the best teeth. Get out of here. You know what I mean? So it's like, there's so many things that she was so accusatory without checking first. And if you look at the kids, they were fine. For the most part, they were happy, especially coming off of something so traumatic in their life. And it's just like, let them be, if he's doing things wrong, if nothing else, they're happy for right now, you can deal with the payout later. Then let them be kids, have the summer.
I think for me, it's the fact that she came out with the plane tickets already bought, and she had counted her brother out from the very beginning. That's why I had a problem with it, because it was never about the children. It was always about her little brother is never going to do this right.
Got
and
you.
I just felt like for once the kids are happy and healthy, they're smiling. They just lost their mother, and their dad is in a facility right now. Regardless of if they've brushed their teeth or not, are they happy? Are they healthy? Are they fed? And the fact that you cannot look past what's going on in your own life and look at these kids and say, it's 2 months, it's 3 months, whatever. They're okay. We'll get them back in the fall, along with my other brother who's missing, essentially. Like, we all know where he's at, but it's just like, yo, you're not even their parents. Their parents made this decision, and you got to just let it rock.
Yeah.
Like,
the other thing that really bugged me with her coming out the way that she did, first of all, no heads up. Tell you right now, you pop up unannounced, you gonna be outside.
Stranger danger.
But the thing that really got me is, as far as I'm concerned, because it wasn't mentioned, she hasn't been calling them. She hasn't been like FaceTiming them. Like there's so many other options. There's so many different levels of check-ins that can happen before you popping up unannounced. And so
like, my first thought is I see my niece and nephew eating cotton candy for breakfast. I'm going to call my brother and be like, please tell me you at least gave them eggs afterwards.
Fruit, something. Yeah.
What they have for dinner that day.
Yeah.
Something. Or at least call mom and tell on him to mom and have mom handle it, because mom knew about the lawsuit where you tried to sue him for temporary custody. Are you out your mind?
I also don't love that that's the only time that we meet the mom.
Meet mom?
Yeah, like honestly, like I don't mean to like put a whole bunch of grief on everything. I didn't know she was still alive because she was literally never mentioned and I was like, oh.
No, there's a I don't know how I remember this, but I remember this. There's a when Macy. Okay. I did it.
I was trying to help you out. Yeah, you got it.
When Macy goes, I hate you. I want to go back to Connecticut.
Yeah.
I want to go with grandma. That's when he has that whole conversation about they're talking about buying a tub where you could just walk into it because they're old. So I knew that they existed.
Okay, that's true. I guess I never thought that those were his parents. I assumed that those were Sarah's parents. Because technically, you can have two sets of grandparents.
I like how you say technically as if I don't.
Well, sure.
Genetics. Anyways, I do remember there being a line. I don't know where it falls in the book, but Patrick does address all the family members that could have possibly taken the children. And I remember Sarah's parents being on that list and his parents being
You're
on
right.
that list.
Look at you knowing details in a book. Girl, I'm proud of you.
Give me till tomorrow. I won't remember any of it.
Yeah. So I just, like I said, this book made me look at the family like, okay, y'all, I see y'all, but I don't really love what y'all all out there doing. Okay, I think the only other funny stories, two other things I just want to point is the washlet. I love how he establishes like
it's
at
a
the
toilet.
top. I love how he establishes at the top, like, oh, bathroom humor is so like cheap and lazy, and then it kind of ended up becoming a thing like throughout the whole thing.
Just
and also
squirting people
loved,
with
like,
toilet water.
It was so random, but it was something that brought them joy, like pretty early on. And he was just like, just lean into it, like let them have this.
Yo,
and then when they went to go slash the
someone
brother,
was haunting the house.
I thought it was so cute. Like, just let them. They're enjoying it. They're having fun, but just let them be. Yeah, let them be. Like, why are you fighting this? I thought it was so cute. Yeah. Oh, that was so adorable.
Can we
and
talk
then my
about
last
the
little thing?
Oh yeah.
If the dog baby food, yo, did you forget? So he's telling the story, and I think his sister was there when he tells it, is that when he was an assistant to like a producer, he had to go get this gourmet dog food for the dog.
Is this at the Christmas dinner?
No, it was afterwards, because it was after the Christmas, not even the Christmas party. It was after the party, and yeah, and he was telling the kids and then also the sister that like, oh yeah,
yes,
I was feeding like every famous child.
I can't. It was fantastic.
My jaw was on the floor, and I was like, yo, and I was like, I get the thought process, and that really made me go. I'm like, oh my God, this is why you need to treat your assistants well, y'all. That's just a lesson learned across the board. Treat your assistants well.
That's so real. I think the ending is the cutest way to wrap this up, if you ask my opinion on this book, because the way I was like, if you don't go get them kids, go get them kids.
Yeah. I was so nervous that he was just going to stay in LA, and I was just like, they need you. You need them, but they also need you.
So for context, Patrick's brother finally finishes his healing journey, and goes, listen, I want you to come back and help me raise the kids. And Patrick is like, moi?
Also, side note, it's giving me very like Full House vibes. Remember? Yes, absolutely. Also, there's another movie. It was like 3 Men and a Baby, but all the different circumstances, but still,
different, but yes. And so Patrick is like, I can't. Okay, I can't.
I can't do Connecticut.
Yeah, he was like, ill. And then Mount Kilimanjaro, Mount Fuji calls him and is like, listen, I got you a deal, baby. All right, you got to meet in LA, but the show is New York. And he's like, I could make it happen. New York isn't that far from Connecticut. We could do this. And he goes and he has this meeting, and they're like, we're filming in LA.
Though the way he shined, like it just turned on, and
taking
he just
candy from
took
a baby
over the room. I so love that moment for him. Yeah, because I will say this, and I mean, people, if you work in the industry, you know, like sometimes you're just like out of practice with it, and you kind of go, do I still have it? Then when you step back into it, you be like, it never left. Like that moment, I love that for him. Yeah. Yes.
And so he's in this meeting, he's killing it until they say, hey, by the way, we're filming it in LA.
Yeah, it's set in New York, but shot in LA. And
he said,
which as a New Yorker is, we know,
painful.
Yes.
But he was just like, wow, that's crazy. Yeah, this ain't gonna work. He was like, mathematically, like, I got a dog, you know, I got like a house and kids and things. And
I also love that, like, at some point he had to like go to his accountant, because he was like, I don't even know what I'm doing with my money. Like, I don't know if I have any.
What I loved about the accountant line was when he was like, loaner me, fine for life.
Yeah, but
kids,
they got
different
college.
Story.
He was like, I need to go to work immediately.
he said
I
this
need
college
2-3
tuition in
jobs.
10 years. Oh, good Lord. But I'm going to tell you right now, when he took that walk on that back lot after he found out that he got the job, I have never been so stressed in my life. I wasn't stressed earlier when Cassie showed up at the door. I was like, okay, cool. Goodbye. In that moment, I said, Patrick, don't you let me down.
Oh,
Patrick?
I didn't take it as him taking the job. I know she called with an offer, but he never really accepted. So I thought he was kind of just walking through it to be like, could it happen?
No. That's what I'm saying is like, he's walking through the back lot when he gets the call with the offer. And I was worried that he was going to be like, I'll stay in LA. And I was like, go get them kids.
And be a star.
Yeah, I was like, Patrick, let's talk. And then we get, I think it's the final chapter after that. And you find out.
We're just going to skip over
Emily?
M something?
His real name is Emery, but they call him Emily.
Yeah.
Okay, so I don't remember all the details. I know that he's walking through the back lot. He runs into Emery, and they have a cute moment.
Okay, never mind.
Yeah.
Keep going.
I mean, you could fill in the gaps for the people at home.
It's fine. I just thought like as he's going through this healing journey, I love that he was open to something that was not really on his radar as a possibility. And I thought that Emery was the perfect little package to bring that to fruition. It was someone that was a fan of what you do. So that also can kind of bring him back to the working space in a comfortable way, but also is in no way pressuring him. Like he never wanted him to move from the desert, never wanted him to take a new job. Like he was just like, what do you want? And that kind of helped him get to the thing of like, I want to be on theater. Like I want to do theater. Yeah.
So he runs into Emery. He has this offer and he's kind of lost. And then we get to the final chapter of the book and he's getting ready to go on stage in a theater play, which he said he would never do unless it was a one-man show. So I was very proud of him. And you find out that it's in Connecticut and that he said, guys, give me a year. To the people back in LA, he said, give me a year. I need to be with my kids.
Yeah.
And in that final chapter, the way that everything was like all kind of like put back together with a bow on top of like him and his sister are in a better place. The kids and his brother are doing better. Emery's there, I think. And he's like, you know, now for the first time in my life, I'm going to be bi.
I cracked up at that too, because he's going to be bi-coastal.
When I tell you the childish humor in me was very happy throughout this book. But I just thought it was such a cute way to wrap things up for me. Yeah. To just know that like everyone's okay. The kids are all right. The adults are all right. Patrick is all right. And then when he left the bike for Judd.
Oh. Yeah.
I couldn't.
Yeah.
It was such a cute story. Like genuinely.
And then also leaving like access to Rosie, who was like his housekeeper. Like for me, I just thought that was so beyond just like a employee kind of a relationship. Like he respected and valued her as a person and was like, listen, still keep doing, like I'm gonna keep, keeping you on, but like also enjoy the things when I'm not here, which I thought that was just so sweet, so sweet.
Are there any other notes that I have skipped over, ma'am?
Nah,
because I'm gonna play nice today. Play nice today.
Okay.
So in reciprocation of me playing nice, I need you to rate the book.
5.
Are there any notes? Any thoughts?
Yes.
You want to elaborate? Put that into a full sentence?
Okay, so I was like, first of all, I always find it weird when I know what my rating is before we do this. So I was just like, I don't know. It wasn't like I don't know what to rate it. It's like I knew what to rate it, but I had to like justify it. And I was like, why? And I was just like, I laughed.
You don't justify it any other time.
I justify it every single time. What are you talking about?
Okay, sure.
And I was just like, for me, it's a 5. I loved it. I'm absolutely going to read it again. I cracked up throughout. It was absolutely adorable.
Yeah.
I like my only notes are the time jumps, and that's just a personal thing. It has nothing to do with whatever. And I thought they were all
so true.
I thought that they were all relevant and gave us insight into the different relationships or the reasoning why of things. You know what I mean? So I'm just like,
yeah,
this book, like I literally have this note. This book like made me laugh out loud multiple times. And especially that a book that has multiple heavy topics in it, it was done so well. As we start this episode with me saying I have DNF books just because there's a child in it, and the fact that like there's 2 throughout and I was locked in, I think, Steven, you did your thing.
That's so true.
Yeah. So it's a 5-star for me. I can't think of a reason to bump it down. I enjoyed it. It was so good. So good. Yeah. Great pick.
Thank you. I give it a 4.
Okay.
Okay. I want to make this very clear. There's nothing wrong with this book. Okay. I loved it from start to finish. It's just not one of those books that I closed it and said, ding dong, well done. I'm going to scream it from the rooftops. Now, if someone's asking me for a feel good story, I'm absolutely wrecking it. It's just not something I'm screaming the hills are alive with the sound of music type of joy. With that being said, I do think there are others in this series, so I would not be opposed to going back in and seeing where the children are and where Patrick is. So it's a high 4. I want to make that very clear.
Okay.
It's a very high 4.
Okay.
I have genuinely no notes as a kid who grew up with Guncles, like these like random musical and celebrity shout outs. It fills me with joy to know that I'm not the only kid going, who's Shirley MacLaine? You know what I'm saying? Like the joy that these, like, when he couldn't remember Cassie's name and he just kept going with the bit even after he could. It was so good. It's such a cute story. Like, genuinely, if you guys are listening to this podcast or watching it, even if you are like 5% interested, give it a shot.
Give it a shot.
Like, I can't. Just give it a try, guys, because it's one of those books where you're like, I just need to be happy.
Yes.
This is it.
Yes.
Like, no stress, no stakes involved. I mean, other than the children's lives. But I just need a moment.
Oh, you
and
said
also
stakes.
For those
I thought you said sticks, and I got very confused.
Just ruining my whole speech. All right, this is my moment.
No, the way I was so confused, I said, I'm sorry, where did the sticks come from?
And I'll also say to y'all who might be struggling with grief, this is a great way to handle it. This is a great way to process whatever you're grieving. It's such a good way to know that, like, sometimes life ain't going to be easy, but there are going to be times where things are going to be better than they were before. And yeah, I mean, I have nothing else to say other than, like, Steven, you did your thing. Not even mad. So glad we found this.
I also, like I said, I love that Steven also did the audiobook of it. Like, it was just so lively. Ugh, I loved it. I loved it.
So
I really
good.
loved it. Yeah.
I guess my last piece of advice for you guys is don't be a Clara, all right? For the love of God. Clara and Charles from season 1 deserve each other at this point. I'm convinced. Because both of them acting real ashy.
Okay.
I said it.
Yeah.
Whatever you do in this world, try and be a Patrick. Be flamboyant, be happy, be you. Because that's really who Patrick is. At the end of the day, he is just himself. And I support all of us owning who we are. And before I turn into Marvin Sapp and tell the ushers to close the doors, I'm going to tell y'all, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. It's been a real one. Thanks for tuning in, guys. And we will see you in the next one. Say bye, Jay. Say bye.